Welcome to Counseling Now. I'm Herman Cummings.
And I'm Grace Lopez.
We're going to be talking about the portfolio and exit exam requirements. Portfolio is a holistic means of monitoring the progress and development of the counselor in training during the duration of their graduate program. The portfolio will, in developing the master's portfolio, the counselor in training will document both personal and professional growth from the entry level into the program and to completion of their master's degree. Each portfolio will include the following. The portfolio should be typed and double-spaced. It should be a table of contents in the beginning, then a vita or resume. The vita should be no longer than 6 pages and consist of these headings: personal and professional information, education, professional experience, professional associations, publications, professional presentations, a statement of career goals, counseling philosophy, and theoretical orientation. And third, it should be a narrative between 1,000 and 2,000 words describing how, since admission to the program, you have changed both professionally and personally, how you have developed. The documentation may include materials from each and every one of your courses, papers, projects, internships, logs, instances of development of growth over the span of the course should be included, as well as outstanding works, any papers, projects, essays, that sort of thing. Materials that show the student has used insights and techniques derived from master's coursework and studies, any written work or videotapes. Students will use these tapes in their practicum and internship experiences for this purpose and make sure that the ACA ethical guidelines are used regarding informed consent and confidentiality. Portfolios should also include student self-reflection regarding their own progress, class journals, reflection papers, etc. Other professional materials and documents you can also include in. And I know, Grace, that you're also working on your portfolio right now. I know you haven't completed it quite yet, but why don't you talk about that experience and what students need to know about this?
Well, I think something that's not mentioned in the requirements is to be creative. When you're writing your portfolio, make sure to make it your own and add the sections you want to add in there, emphasize what you want to emphasize. Of course, you want to show the growth that you've actually made in the program and show your strengths, as well as some of the weaknesses you might have overcame throughout the time that you were here at CSU. And I think that's the main important thing to remember, because professors don't want to keep reading the same portfolio over and over again. So they leave some ambiguity and room for you to make your portfolio your own. So I think it's important to make sure to put in those tape sessions so we can so the professors can see how you interact with clients. Maybe throw in, I know Dr. Bro emphasizes self-reflection, and I know in many of his courses we have journal entries and different things like that where you get to talk about what you really feel and think about and how you've grown. So you might want to enter those into it as well. So I would say right now what I'm dealing with is trying to make sure that I articulate exactly the growth that I've made, which can be kind of difficult because you have to try and reflect back about 2 or 3 years ago and see where your mind was at then and where it's at now. And some of those pieces of writing that you may have done in the beginning can help with that.
Indeed, because it's going to be hard. This is a 2-year program, and what you're going to have to do is remember way back your first or second classes. So a good idea to do is when you start the program, or even now, is to have a journal entry of how you feel about certain classes, about what you've learned, areas that you need improving on, and areas that you've grown in, how you feel that this class will be useful to you in your professional development. When you do that early, you can easily go back, like you said, Grace, and see, oh, this is how I felt then, this is how I feel now, and you can even add that to your narrative of how you have grown as a counselor. Another thing that you need to know is that a sample of the portfolio can be found in the main office in Jordan 103. Please remember that the deadline for submitting your portfolio is October the 8th for those graduating in the fall, and it's March 15th for those graduating in the spring. And Grace, if you will, won't you give us an idea of how much you've grown as a counselor since the beginning of your program?
Well, when I started the program, I didn't know not very much about counseling, just I knew that I was caring, I was nurturing, and that I probably had a little bit of empathy. I'd be able to be empathic to the clients. But since I've been here, I've been able to not only learn more about how to help the clients, I've learned more about myself, my own strengths and weaknesses within counseling and within regular relationships and situations, so that now going into a client-therapist relationship, I kind of know where I stand and what I need to do in order to be effective in therapy. And being able to push aside my own feelings and deal with what the client needs has been a lot easier than I thought it would be. I thought sometimes people would get wrapped up in their own life, and so I think I've grown in being more confident in myself and actually being able to do the things I do know how to do. And also it's helped that the professors have always been behind us, helping us each of the way, and supervision. So I think I've grown in my ability to be confident in myself.
And another key is what a lot of students need to know on the onset is that from each class, keep everything. That you, all the documents, all the papers you use, all the graded works, all the documents that you receive, pamphlets, anything that you have, keep it, because you're going to need it later on, because really this is a 2-year training program into your profession. So you're going to need everything. And it's all right when you speak of classes. Some classes touched you or have facilitated more growth than others. I know for me, ethics has really changed the way I know about things I know about myself, and really facilitated growth for me. And that's may not be the case for some other classes, maybe less, but it's all right to have more growth in some areas than in others. And I know you might have that experience too, Grace.
And it's important, like you said, to keep maybe a binder of all the important works, reflection papers, term papers. The big 30-page theory paper might be able to help you when you're trying to assess what theory you're in, because that's also a part of portfolio. They kind of want you to make a little statement about, you know, what theory you are. So it's important to keep those in mind and keep track of everything. And if you're watching this and you're just starting the program, start saving all of those documents, because they'll help you out when you're ready to graduate.
Indeed, and I'll say again, if you keep a journal, just keep a personal journal of how each class affects you as you take it, it'll be very helpful, because you'll have those thoughts fresh in your memory, so you don't have to think of how you felt 1 or 2 years ago. I know that it's very important for each counselor to realize that it's okay to be, the change is good. It's okay to be uncertain about certain classes in the beginning, but then realize how that class might be helpful or may not have been helpful for you. But please document that in your portfolio. Has there been any instance, Grace, where you can say that maybe a class that you weren't so sure that you were of it?
I don't know about the purpose of it. I know that there's some classes where you're just unsure of what you're going to get going into it. I think individual analysis is one of those. You know, it may have to do with testing, but you just don't know the degree of information you will get from it. And there is a lot of information, and that will give you some background into some of the assessments you may see as a counselor, not necessarily administer, because as counselors we cannot administer many exams, probably career ones more. So there definitely are some courses where you're unsure of what you're going to get. But I think you can probably take away something from each of them. Career might be another one. If some students aren't interested in career as much, they may not feel that they're getting much out of it. But those who want to pursue career counseling, it is very effective. And I also think it works into personal counseling because they're interrelated, and I believe you can take something from all these courses.
Exactly. They are interrelated. And I know from personal experience that career counseling was one that I was not particularly interested in on the onset, but as I took the course, I realized how important it was, even though I wasn't going to be a career counselor. You never know who's going to come into your office having career concerns. There's all kinds of issues that come into play with career counseling that can be applicable to other areas in counseling. And I believe that it's good to talk about your strengths and also talk about your weaknesses and areas that you need to improve in, because when you leave the program, you're not expected to be the perfect counselor, that you know everything, that you have no weaknesses at all, but document areas that you need to improve in. And I know that we can all think of areas that we can improve in, right, Grace?
There's always areas that you can improve in even as you're graduating, so you might even mention those leaving the program, which you're still going to work on. So it's important to work on them as you're in the program and to continue pursuing supervision in order to get licensed.
Indeed, and counseling 6,000 is a prerequisite to the exit exam, and I know that you're getting ready for that, Grace. So why don't you talk about the exit exam?
Sure. For the exit exam, it's just a 200 question exam. It's usually given after you've taken the NCE, whether it be in the fall or the spring, and it's divided up into the 8 different K-CREP standard areas, which include career, research, all the different basically courses that we took in ethics portion. But they also add 2 different sections the department will add filled with questions. So there'll be 10 sections, and each of those 10 sections will have about 20 questions each. So it's important to try and study your notes in all those classes. It's also important to probably stop by Jordan Hall room 103 and see Patty or any of the graduate assistants, and they can hand you a binder that we have to study for the NCE and the exit exam. We also have 2 copies of Howard Rosenthal's book, Encyclopedia of Counseling, which is also extremely helpful. Many students have already purchased them. If you haven't yet, it's an excellent way to study. It also divides up the studying time into the 8 different K-CREP areas. And it's important to also maybe sign up for the NCE if you haven't for the April time slot yet. There's also an October time where we can take the NCE, which is given by the NBCC, the National Board Certified Counselors. And if you do take the NCE, that can help you gain your licensure, and then you can also be an NCC, a National Counselor Certified.
Exactly, Grace. And one other note is that when you study for the exit exam, we have it lined up so that it's around the same time as you can take the NCE. So basically studying for one test prepares you for the other, so you can knock out those 2 in one time.
Exactly. So that's what's important to remember, to just study beforehand and you can take both.
Indeed. We hope that this has been very helpful to you. And if you have any questions at all about the exit exam or the portfolio, please feel free to call the main office at 568-2200. This is Herman Cummings with Grace Lopez, signing off on Counseling Now. Have a great day.